Everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to get to our high poly of Deadpool. This part is going to be very interesting considering how much we need to do. So let's start out with the head. I think the key thing we're going to just need to do is mostly these eyes here. I did say we were going to move these back, which we will do later on in the video. So let's first get ourselves some edge loops that we can put here to make these a lot less of, if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and comment. Also, this is what we're doing right here. So you have the model here. And if you press 3, it'll go into smooth build. This is what we want, so we can really just delete this. And Control D. And move one here. And all we gotta really do for this one is just rotate it outwards. And we're just gonna rotate this out of it. If you're noticing like the eyes don't really fit with that, the issue is that you can't really make that shape unless you can it's a detail. But I only put it here just to fit the line. Now comes the tricky part. If you look at Deadpool's head, you can actually see that his head ends up like this curve area. So what we're gonna do is go to vertex, and what we're gonna do is more or less just move these at the bottom backwards. It doesn't seem like it's really doing anything right now. I have an idea. So we're gonna move this. Oh, this is. Oh, now we have the real model. Let's try it again now, because somehow the other one was duplicated. Yep, we should be able to get it. And if you're thinking about the proportions, what we're really going to do for those proportions is simply just, move out the top a lot differently. We're not actually going to, why does it keep doing that? So we're just going to move this part of the head. Let's focus in. We might have activated something wrong. Just go back, vertex, and let's just do what we were going to do, and move these parts backwards. We're going to move these in a little bit just so that it looks like there's a change going on. So we kind of have what we're looking for with Deadpool. All we really got to do here is move these out a bit. And if we check, we are going to put a couple of polys to match his head looks. Don't worry. So now let's go to object mode and let's actually add some edge loops. That one at the top, see what happens. Okay, that looks good. So you kind of had the head down. What about this part? What we're really gonna just do is there's not really high poly for the head. What we're really just gonna do is just make it bigger to match what we did to the top. And we have pretty much the head. This is a basic high poly. There's a lot of other details that go into it, but right now what we're doing is just get the high poly down. Next, we're gonna do these. Now, if you notice the elbows I didn't put in, let's put those in right now. The arms are kind of going to be difficult to high poly considering you don't really know how to high poly these. What we're really high polying is parts that look like they have a stylized design. So if you're thinking we're high polying everything, you are wrong. Let's actually move this up a bit so that it can match up. So really what we're going to do for this video also is kind of align everything with how we're smoothing it out. So there's one arm. I'll actually just like set up the arm here. Get another circle. And move it in the same spot, but it's lower because we did position the arm in that way. What we're going to high poly next is the body. This part's not going to be as difficult. Really what we're going to do is just insert a bunch of edge loops. So let's go here and just insert, for me what I do is I'll usually put in a few edge loops like this. Check. Now that kind of looks a lot more smoother. This is kind of what we're aiming for. If you're noticing that we're not actually, doing like any of these designs, it's because we're just integrating what we have in the model. And then the same thing here. We're actually going to make it a different. You can see how this one's a lot into it. We're actually going to move that out a little bit to match how broad his chest is. Object mode. Let's check it. Okay, this actually looks pretty good. Now, this is actually a lot shorter than others, but we're going to do the hand next. If you remember Donald Duck episode, that didn't go so well, so we're actually going to take it a lot more differently. What we're going to do is we're going to take one and begin by like putting in a bunch of edge loops. Insert some edge loops. We're going to add a couple more than last time so we have more areas to do. Actually, before we do any of that, let's go to our modeling toolkit, add divisions. Add divisions. What we're aiming for is to add enough divisions so that we can actually make the fingers. So just take this, add divisions. This looks fine, because then the reason I'm not doing more is because we're actually going to go into it and then put the edge loops. We're going to give this more vertices, more things we need to, Okay, this looks okay, and since we just need to go into vertex mode and do the fingers, his fingers, if we just bring this over, you can see how his fingers are just like on his thing, like he's holding his finger out. So we're not going to really do something that's so complicated. What just happened? So what we're going to do is take this corner and move these outwards. Then we're going to do the same idea, but since there's like that gap, I'm going to take the top ones here, kind of move them a little forward. But like, we're not going to go so detailed, but what we're looking for is how he's like holding his hands, like he's grabbing onto his belt. So this actually looks pretty good for what we're aiming for with the model. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to move this sideways to match how he's holding. So we're going to go move this sideways. We're actually going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's check it. This actually looks pretty good. Move it in. And it might not seem like it, but we actually did hit a good spot. Now since the same idea is here, except it's more or less one finger, we can basically do the same thing. So let's do our same strand. We're going to take this out, add some divisions, mesh tools, insert edge loop. Let's check it. And it's fine. Wondering how I'm getting out of it, I do it differently. I go to object mode, then click select, pick our item up, and what's really going to be changed is instead of us, doing two fingers, we're really just going to do one giant part at the top. So we have our object here, go into vertex mode, pick out the top, and we didn't pick out some of the other vertex. This is actually gonna be tough. So we have to pick these out. And we do have this part, but like the issue that we're having right now is that we're picking out way too many. And then there are times where we pick out the wrong ones. So what I'm gonna do is what I'm doing here is I am holding Shift on the ones I want to move, and then move on. So like on your keyboard, the way I did that was like you can do this with other stuff too. You can hold Shift, like select an item, hold Shift, click another one, and it'll actually like combine them in a way. If I don't like fully combine, I'll show you guys that. Like I might do a tutorial video for next week if you guys will let me, and if you go down in the comments and ask. I'll just check this. This actually looks fine. So in the comments below, next week we are gonna do Spider-Man. But if you want, in the brink, like maybe Monday, I could do a tutorial video for you guys on a couple of other ways you can work mine. Okay, next we have the belt buckle. This part isn't going to be as difficult as you guys might think. All we're going to do is add a couple more edge loops. And I think that's all we need other than like the splash paint at the bottom, which we're going to do later. So let's just come over here and we have our first shape. This model is a lot more different in a way that it doesn't have as much cartoony style details that we had with characters like Bumblebee and Donald Duck. So high polying is not really different, yeah. And if you're wondering if I'm adding this to my remasters list, yes, this will be a remastered model when the time comes where I will remaster. So what we're really just doing right now is kind of doing a couple of things with the model that you might not notice, but in the end it will be a lot more noticeable that like a lot of things involve the design. So if the model, has a very blocky design, you need to put a lot of edge loops. But if you have a realistic model like this Deadpool, what we're really doing is instead of us, going into the model often, what we're really doing is just measuring out the shape. And that should really be that part, but wait, there is more. We should shrink this first. The splotches on here. This actually won't be as difficult as it looks like. What we're really going to do is first make the shape more sharper, and then we're really going to just take our vertex and kind of just move them in a different pattern. So of course we're going to add our divisions, and then add our edge loops. Check the model. That looks okay. Now for what we're going to do here. If you're wondering what I'm going to do, what I'm really just going to do is go to vertex mode and kind of just move a bunch of vertices around. So we're just going to pick this up and just move it around a bit. Like you can be as sporadic as you want with this. You could even move them all the way down here. If you ever want to, you can always, just take some of the models. And like you can try this. I got this photo from Pinterest. You guys can see my last video. So if you ever want to go on Pinterest, try to find a couple of photos you might want to do, you can do. And that really should be our Deadpool model. As much as we're going to get, really the last thing we have to do are these. This isn't going to be as hard as it looks. We're just going to, just insert a crap ton of edge loops. All we got to do the same thing here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if I am correct, is our Deadpool. Oh shoot, the neck. I kind of forgot about this part, but we kind of need to adjust the neck. So first, with this kind of shape, what we're going to do is, if I can pull it out. As you can see at the top, there's like these lines. So what you need to do with these is you need to delete every other. Because once we, take the model, we don't want triangular shapes. You might see the model but I see other triangular shapes. Did I? but for the sake of the video, I'll be doing those another time. So there we have one part. And then we'll do the same thing under here. And now, if we just add a couple of edge loops, we should be able to make it sharper. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our Deadpool model. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and comment. Also, I can always see when you guys are watching and you're not subscribed. Just subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Put in the comment section next. Next week is going to be Spider-Man, and the week after will be a unicorn. And if you guys ever want to, you can always put on the comments if you want to, like, a couple of things you might want to understand about modeling. I can, do something like that. Thank you guys. I love you, and bye.